going to be doing one of the DIYs that I actually had planned for next month. And I decided to do it this month only because I'm going to make this a two-part video. So the first part is going to be actually constructing the project, and the second part is going to be decorating the project. And this is a little bit bigger of a project, or bigger of a DIY, so that's why I wanted to split it into two separate videos. So what we're going to be making today is we're going to be using these 5x7 Dollar Tree frames right here, and I purchased like 12 of these. We're going to be making a lantern with these, but not the normal lantern that I've made. We're actually going to be making a 5-sided double high lantern with these. And I actually saw a lantern very similar to this when we had gone to Pottery Barn. They had this big, beautiful lantern. It stood about 2 feet high, and they had it all decorated, and it was beautiful. And it was like $240. I think it was like $240 or $250. And I thought to myself, I can make this, or very similar, I can make one very similar to this for way, way less. So I went to the Dollar Tree. I picked up 12 of these. I wasn't sure how many I was going to need, whether I was going to need 6 per side or 5 per side. I actually kind of prepped it a little bit ahead of time, and I'm actually going to do a 5-sided lantern, but it's going to be double high. So it's actually going to stand 14 inches tall, because this is a 5x7 frame, so it's going to stand 14 inches tall, and it's going to have 10 like window panes in it. So let's get started. First of all, what you're going to do is you're going to obviously need these frames, and they came from the Dollar Tree. You're going to also need some hot glue, and you're going to need quite a bit of hot glue. I actually bought a whole new packet of hot glue because you're going to need quite a bit, because there's a lot of different gluing, you know, that's going to go on. So take the cellophane wrap off of your frames. I'm actually pulling everything out. I'm pulling the back piece off. I'm pulling the inserts out. Just like this. I'm pulling all of those out, and also what I'm doing is, if these little black tabs on the back come off easily, pull them out. If they don't come off easily, just bend them back really far so that way you can't see them from the front of the frame. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the glass out, and I'm going to put just a little dot of hot glue in each corner of each frame, and I'm going to glue the glass in place. That way you have a nice clean edged frame that you won't see the little tabs that will, you know, the tabs won't be holding the glass in, the glue will be holding the glass in. Okay, so now I have all of my glass pieces glued in to my frame itself, so they are nice and sturdy in there and they're not going to fall out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start constructing this 5-sided lantern. Now, like I said, it's going to be two frames high, so you're actually going to do 2 of these. I'm going to show you. I put one together already. So this is actually what it's going to look like. You're going to have a 5-sided lantern just like this, and I'm going to kind of show you how to go ahead and glue this together. I'm actually going to do the second tier with you guys. That's what it's going to look like when you've got one tier complete. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our frames, and I know previously I've told you guys to purchase frames that have a flat edge or a 90-degree angled edge. Disregard that for this tutorial, only because you are going to want the frames that have like the 45-degree edge instead, because you're going to be doing 5 sides as opposed to 4 sides, and with that angled edge you'll be able to glue those sides together easier. So make sure you get the frames that have the 45-degree angle edge, not the flat edged frames. So I'm going to take my glue, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little like indentation on the side of one of my frames right here, just to place a nice thick strip of hot glue. Now I've let my hot glue warm up, and this is a high temp glue gun. It was like $4 from Joann Fabric, I think. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a nice thick bead of glue right in that like crevice, just like that. And then I'm going to take another frame and I'm going to butt the second frame right up to that. I'm going to just make sure they're nice and level. So I'm like setting it on my counter here, making sure that it's nice and level. And so we've got, it's going to look like that. And you just want to kind of hold it in place for a second until the glue really sets. Okay. So once that glue sets, then we're going to turn our frame and we're going to put another bead of glue right in this side, right here. Make sure you have plenty of glue in there. And then we're going to butt this next flat side up to the angled side. Just like that. And kind of hold it in place till it sets. Takes about 5 to 10 seconds for the hot glue to, really set. So just hold it so that it doesn't move out of place. Okay. Then again, we are going to turn our frame. And we're going to put another bead of glue along the edge right here. And use that flat side of the frame, the next one, to butt it up against that. Okay, so when you get to your very last piece that you have glued in place, I'm going to actually give you an overhead view of this right now. All right, so this is how your frame should look right now. We have an opening at the end. We've got all 5 glued together, except we haven't glued this last piece together. And just as I've mentioned in previous lantern tutorials about gluing like alternating the sides that you're gluing to. You want to do the same thing for this one. So as you can see, I have this frame, which is like in front of this frame. Then this frame is in front of this frame. This frame is in front of this frame. This frame is in front of this frame. And that is the exact same thing that we're going to do with this last frame. We're going to make sure this frame right here is glued in front of the frame that we started with. So that way all of your seams are kind of alternating all the way around the lantern. So that's what I'm going to do. Instead of putting the glue on this side like you would normally, we're going to put the glue on this side and we're going to glue that to the flat edge of the last frame. So that is what our second layer is going to look like when it's complete. All right, so now you should have 2 5-sided lanterns, just like this. That's what they'll look like at the top. And so now what we're going to do is we are going to stack these lanterns one on top of the next, just like that. Okay guys, so the next step that you're going to do, and this is a step that you're going to want to do in order to be able to hold these lantern pieces together. You could just put some hot glue around the top or around the top and then place the second one on top. But the hold is probably not going to be the best if you do that. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to use some of this poster board, and it's a metallic poster board. This came from the Dollar Tree in a pack of 5 different colored sheets. I actually used some of the gold already for a different project, but I have some pieces left. So I'm actually going to use this gold poster board and I'm going to cut these into strips. Now this gold matches the gold of the frames that I'm using pretty perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take a ruler or a tape measure, and I'm just going to measure the inside, like one of the inside walls. It's going to be a little bit different than what the outside is. So this one is actually measuring about 5 3/4. So let me just make sure that they should all be about the same. Yep, 5 3/4. So I'm going to use my paper cutter, and like I said, I'm going to cut out 5 3/4 by 1 inch strips of this gold poster board or cardstock. All right, I like this cutter because it has a measuring arm that comes out like this, and so you can use this as a ruler. So I'm going to just take one of my sheets right here. I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put it on 5 3/4, and then I'm just going to cut. So now I've got my 5 3/4 inch piece, and now I'm going to cut this into 1 inch strips. And again, it's got the 1 inch guide right on there. So there's one. So you're only going to need 5 of these strips, just like this. So now that I have my 5 strips all cut out, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my hot glue station, and I'm going to start gluing these strips to the inside of the wall, just like this, of the lantern. So I'm going to glue one strip about halfway, you know, about half of the width of the paper. I'm going to glue to the inside, and I'm going to do that all the way around on all 5 sides. Okay, so what I did was, I think this is going to be the easiest way to attach these strips to the lantern, is I'm laying the lantern on its side, and then what I'm going to do is I've got my hot glue right here. I'm actually going to put another hot glue in just so that it's all ready. So what I'm going to do is you want this gold side facing out. So I'm going to just run a strip of glue right down one edge of the gold cardstock, and then I'm going to just stick that right inside the lantern, just like that. And then I'm going to continue doing that for each side all the way around. So I'm going to just put a strip of glue, and I'm just using hot glue. So I've got a strip of glue on there, and I'm just gonna place that face down on the lantern. See that? Just like that. Kind of push it down. Okay, so now you have your cardstock or your poster board glued right to the top of your base frame. And so this is what it should look like, just like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this top piece, or this top lantern, right on top. It should actually sit on there pretty easily. As long as your frames were glued together the exact same way, it should sit right on top of that bottom piece nicely. Now, you can go ahead and glue this together if you want now. I'm actually not going to. I'm going to just leave mine just the way it is. Because it sits nicely, and then if you want to pack it up and store it away, you can actually pull this top one right back off again and pack it and store it away. Or you can use it as 2 separate lanterns if you wanted to. But yeah, so that's what it looks like. I think it turned out really, really cute. Like I said, this is actually going to be part 1 of a 2-part tutorial because I'm actually going to be decorating this lantern for spring, and I'm going to be doing that in another video that's going to be coming up in another week or so probably. So I wanted to at least do this portion of the lantern so that way you guys could see how to do it. You could buy the supplies for it and make this portion of the lantern before we actually do the decorating. I'm actually gonna keep mine up here in my craft room until after Valentine's Day, because I'm not going to be using this until after Valentine's Day. I'm actually going to keep the lantern that I have downstairs in my living room down there for now, and then I will be using this one as my like spring and Easter lantern. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and make sure to check out my Facebook page, The Pixie Dust Housewife, because I got a lot of stuff going on there. So I hope to see you guys again very soon, and have a great day. Take care.